had very good success against ranked opponents since you've been here, even when you haven't had the greatest teams. Could you explain that, or is this just happenstance?
No, I think it's a little bit more than happenstance. I think it has more to do with Richmond. I think there's a little bit of, that's kind of what the program got the most attention for, certainly in Coach Tarrant's era. So I think there's probably a little bit of that feeling of that history and that feeling that we can. What I think is impressive about it is we don't get that many opportunities. So when you have the chance, we've been able to do okay. So I would say it has much more to do with Richmond than anything else, and we have had good teams. I think that's probably the more important part.
That was the alumni part of John asking the questions.
How do you avoid overselling this game tomorrow night? It's one of 16 or 18 that you'll play in conference, but at the same time, this is a good chance to show a wider audience what this year's program is about.
Sure. So that's a good point. I mean, they're tremendous. I mean, I think they're probably as good as I've seen, to be honest with you, on offense. I don't think I've seen a team this. Their numbers speak for themselves, but their explosiveness, consistency, lack of droughts. I mean, everything is so impressive about them. So I would say we try not to get too high or low about any one game, and just try to be consistent in our approach. Naturally, there's going to be more interest or outside interest or noise surrounding a game like this. And I can't really control that, or the coaches can't control that. So I think just trying to keep our message the same, trying to keep our cadence the same, the way we introduce everything, how we practice, as much as we can. But you can't help but to have a little bit extra just because of what's surrounding it.
How well you guys have done here. How much has the crowd been a factor for you guys?
Yeah, the crowd's been great. I mean, ever since they renovated the Robins Center, it's a great home court. It's a tremendous home court advantage, and the crowd has been really, really good. There's just been much more. There's we have some exciting players and there's some exciting things that happen, but even before that, the crowd has gotten us into the game or tried to kind of get us going, and so the crowd's been great. I know it'll be a tremendous crowd tomorrow night.
I know you mentioned their offense gets a lot of attention. With Blake hurt, yours has had to change a little bit. You still try to go through Grant, but what's the biggest difference with you guys offensively?
Well, Blake's a great player and an aggressive player, and he can get his shot. He can get his own shot. He can benefit from the offense helping him to get a shot and the ball movement. I would say we probably, and again, it's not like we sat and had an hour meeting about how it's going to change, because we're doing a lot of the same things. Blake often, was the recipient of how the movement would work. And now I think really probably making sure we always talk about playing through Grant and throwing the ball to Grant or Matt or Sal, and making sure that we have those opportunities inside and try to play inside out. And I would say it probably just a little bit even more of an emphasis and a little bit more time for things to develop. When what we lose in Blake's aggressiveness and ability, we probably have, just a little bit longer possession by a pass or two sometimes, and maybe sometimes that's to our benefit.
Some of the guys that are filling his minutes have had some really good games. How have they adapted to their increased roles, do you think?
They played really well. I think Andre Gustafsson has played exceptionally well. Jake Wojcik has played well. Everybody has picked up a little bit more time, a little bit more opportunity, and done well with it. Besides Tyler, it's unique. We only have one freshman. We have no seniors. It's really unique kind of makeup of the team. But those guys have played, so I think it's not totally foreign to them. And I think I think they've been itching to play more and to get a couple more cracks and more opportunity, and I think they've maximized that.
You guys have gotten more accolades for your defense this year than most years. How much of a sense of pride and a sense of focus will it be for you tomorrow?
Yeah. So we were really good on defense for a long time, but recently we haven't been, and we've really improved. I mean, we worked on it probably from 2 weeks after the end of last season until now, and we spend a lot of time on it, and the guys put a lot of effort into it. So I'm really proud that we're so improved because it was two things. It was defense and strategy and those kinds of things, but more than anything, it was toughness and physical and mental approach to being on that end of the floor. And so that has dramatically improved. Now, a lot of that would have happened because we were so much older. We have 5 juniors, starters, basically. Well, 2 of them weren't there, and they were sophomores last year. So that would have been naturally better. But it has taken multiple steps rather than just one step. So I'm really proud of how we've defended and how we've improved at that end.
Coach, you touched on how much better the crowd's been this year, but it's still probably, the environment tomorrow is probably going to be different than any game you guys have played in a few years, maybe other than VCU last year. What can you do to prepare the guys to be able to plan that and maintain composure, or is it really just you can't get there until you're there?
Yeah, well, I think I'll just give them a couple of reminders. There's an old saying, act like you've been there before, and make sure that there's composure. We talk about playing with poise a lot. And so, you want to have the great crowd, you want to have big shots and get fired up, but you also want to make sure you defend the next possession, or if you take a charge or make a steal to execute the next possession on offense. So, but there's obviously emotion in the game. That's what makes college basketball fun and exciting. But I hope we just handle ourselves well and maintain our poise. A big part of that is, Dayton, number one, is used to big crowds every year in every game. This year in particular is on the road. And so they're so good at and so fast in transition at scoring and capitalizing on those plays that you really do have to be alert at all times.
Without giving away too much of your defensive strategy, when you're going up against a player like Toppin, do you have to avoid or try to guard against, giving him too much of your focus? Yeah. And towards that end, do you anticipate, more rotation, just getting throwing multiple guys at the situation, or how much does it fundamentally change what you do, or does it not change it at all?
Well, I would say he makes you change enough because he's that good. Now the problem is they have really good players at every spot, experienced, talented, fast, strong, good shooters. They're very aggressive. We have really, really impressive offensive numbers, and theirs are just off the charts. I have not seen this late in the season numbers like this. So they're all really good. I mean, they bring a Michigan transfer off the bench who's, he's an all-league caliber player, and he's the 6th man. And so, but you have to really pay attention to Toppin because of his baskets are so easy that he can get. And so, you can make other guys work for baskets or make the team work for baskets. His are so easy that it just feels, and they're also pretty exciting and whatnot. So, his are just so easy that you have to pay attention to try not to. You're always trying to take away easy baskets. Get back in transition, second shots, those kinds of things. But for him, he's just he just gets easy baskets that you really have to pay a lot of attention to limit those.
How much do you watch, if at all, teams that might have had like St. Louis was up double digits against them? How much do you watch? Is it beneficial for you to watch games like that where teams have had success, or is St. Louis such such a different team from you guys that it really doesn't make that much of a difference?
No, well, we still try to watch, and mostly, really, I think, so much of basketball is about ball screen coverage, ball screen defense, and how people guard the ball screen. And so, they have, Anthony's terrific coach. They have really a great concept too. They're so free flowing, but they're always in a position where they're taking away where you're naturally your help defense would be. That guy's always on the move or crossing the court, so they're never stagnant. So you don't know exact. It's harder to recognize and identify who your help defense is on Toppin, for example. So we really watch a lot of that and what teams have tried to do. And more than anyone, Dayton is a pick your poison. Some teams you can say, well, we're going to guard it this way to limit these 2 things. With Dayton, you're opening up something in addition to taking away something or trying to take away something. So we do watch and try to see. We're a different defensive team than St. Louis for sure. And so much is going to come down to how we guard the ball screen and, if they can capitalize on the things that we can't necessarily guard.
You guys hit reset, I know, before each game, and it's a clean slate. You know, with that said, winning 5 of your first 6 conference games and having 3 in a row, I mean, what's the difference in mindset in terms of just practice and confidence and momentum right now?
Yeah, it's obviously always it's better just to go out to, practice is so critical, and it's better to go out to a game that where people generally are feeling good. But your job is really there when you don't do so well. And so, but I would say the guys are confident and excited. I think they're excited to play. They recognize opportunities that we have in front of us, and I think they're really excited to play.
When you first saw the schedule and you saw Dayton and VCU back to back, what were your thoughts of having arguably 2 of your biggest regular season games inside of 3 days?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of part of how the schedule works, and that's just a challenge that it is. I mean, we could say that when the St. Louis and at Davidson was looked to be a really difficult stretch, and then this one. So, that's just the way it turns out, and you have to play the games the way they line up and go out and play. So. I know it'll be 2 great crowds in a row, so that'll be really positive.
We talked about the players' excitement, but what about just from you and the coaching staff's perspective? It's a game everybody loves, right? You get out there and get to have some fun.
Yeah, we might have missed that. Just when you start watching film, they're really as good as I've seen. I mean, I can't imagine. We've played. I've been here a long time and. We've played some, the Kansas team we played in the NCAA tournament was just, they had the twins, the Morris twins, and they were just so good. And I think they brought an NBA player off the bench. I think Bill Self told me they had 7 NBA players on that team. So that team was incredible. But other than that, I can't think of anybody that is just this explosive and they play a great way. They're fluid. They're fast. They're aggressive. They're talented. They're just tremendous. So you kind of lose out on a little bit of the excitement from our vantage point.
Has Grant being at Dayton allowed you guys to have more of a maybe cordial relationship than when he was at VCU?
Yeah, I have tremendous respect for Anthony, and I've gotten to know him better over the years. Yeah, I mean. Probably so. I really think the world of him and how he coaches. Just look at his resume. I mean, Florida, all that success. Coaching a great franchise in the NBA. He did very well at Alabama. Did great at VCU. So I have a ton of respect for him and think really highly of him. And I just love the way he coaches. Love they play a little bit different style now than they did at VCU, and really think the world of him.
Jacobs is a team that averages 84 points, 83 points, and leads the nation in field goal percentage. If you were the coach of the Richmond Spiders, would you try to run with them, stay with them, beat them on scoring, or do your best to hold them down?
I don't know. I'm not the coach. That's a tough one. But he told us yesterday they're going to score no matter what. We could play the best defense that we've played all year on some possessions, and they got guys that'll make shots over it. They'll make plays no matter what. So it's going to be a little bit combination of both. We're going to have to make it tough on them. Going to have to make them miss shots, but we're going to have to do some scoring of our own.
Seems like you guys have gotten more accolades for your defense this year than most years. How much is that a point of honor for you guys?
It's rewarding. Obviously, we kind of knew coming into this year that our defense was going to be our main thing that we had to focus on. Obviously, we had guys that could score, and that's kind of been the case over the past couple of years since I've been here. We've been able to score. We just can't really guard anybody, but I think we've gotten better at it, and it's rewarding to know we got a couple accolades for it.
This weekend, knowing that probably your 2 toughest conference games are coming up within the span of 72 hours, did your approach and your preparation change at all, knowing it's going to be in such a short time span?
I don't think the approach really changed. Obviously these are probably the 2 best teams in the conference that we're going to play here. But we're not really worried about the VCU game yet. Got a job to do tomorrow, and then after that we'll focus on the next game.
With shooting the highest, 2-point field goal percentage, but also 37% from three. How do you defensively approach that versatile attack?
You got to give up something, obviously. Coach Moon's decided what we're going to give up. They're balanced offensively. Everybody can score the ball. Obviously, they shoot the ball well. So we're going to have to give up something and hope it works out for us.
How often do you think you have to remind your teammates, listen, this is going to happen. We don't have to play the perfect game. If something goes wrong, it's okay. Just focus and move on.
I think that's going to be probably the biggest thing we have to talk about. Obviously, they got guys who are going to make plays, highlight real plays. Somebody's going to dunk. They're going to go on a run. It's the game of basketball, no matter who it is. So as long as we know that, I think we'll be all right.
Even the Richmond basketball Twitter page said this is one of the biggest games ever at the Robins Center. How do you guys approach it like any other game?
At the end of the day, they got to come here and play us. It's not like we just have to go play them. They got to play us as well. So I think that's kind of our mindset. They're a good team, but we're a good team as well. So
What's the difference with Tyler Burton here in the last couple of games?
just confident. I know what it's like to be a freshman. It's kind of tough. Obviously, you're worried about running the plays right. You're worried about the coaches. You make a mistake, you think you're getting pulled out. But he's got a confidence now to where he thinks he can make a play. He's going to go make the play. And it's worked out for him. It's worked out for us. He's playing really well right now.
On film, what's the biggest difference between Dayton from last year and Dayton from this year? Because they're a good team, but they weren't, like top 10 like they are now.
Their players are different. Obviously, they don't have Cunningham. He was their big guy last year. He was a little slower. Putting Toppin at the 5 makes him a little more fast. They're able to get out and transition more. But they got better. Obviously, Crutcher's playing at a really good level, and then Obi's obviously playing fantastic right now. So their guys got better.
What's the biggest difference in you guys offensively with Blake out?
We gotta find ways to get everybody shots. I think that's what's happening right now. I think nobody shot more than 8 shots last game. Everybody was getting touches. Everybody shot the ball. So I think right now the ball's just flowing. Everybody's getting touches. Everybody's trying to score, make plays, be confident, and that's what's happening.
How much of that falls on you?
A good amount. Most of everything pretty much falls on me with the team, but it's what it is.
You guys, I know, hit kind of the reset button before every game and with a fresh slate. With that said, are you a believer in momentum that, winning 3 straight, 5 of your first 6 conference games? I mean, do you believe that kind of sets you up better for this game?
I definitely think so. I believe in momentum. Obviously, I think a team can get really hot, a team can get really cold, kind of is what it is. We've won our last 3, but I don't think we've played our best basketball in these last 3, so that's kind of our thought process right now. We're just trying to reset, just play this game.